Have you ever poured one for the homie? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically when you're drinking and you remember somebody who has passed, so you pour a little bit of the beer out for the homie. I sound so stupid, but this story will make you stop doing that. Because maybe you can conjure an unknown homie. I need to stop saying homie. What the fuck? This happened to a group of friends 25 years ago when they were in their late teens, early 20s. So this girl says that some of her girlfriends and some guys were gonna go camping because one of the guys' family owned a cabin. This cabin was out in the middle of nowhere, definitely not close to anybody nor the city. So the guy that owned the cabin was a little sad because just a few weeks back he had lost an uncle who he was very close to. So because of this, when they all started drinking, he started dedicating bottles of beer to his uncle, and instead of like pouring it out, he was leaving them on the ground next to him. She says that he kept doing this over and over, so there were like 4 or 5 full bottles next to him that he had dedicated to his uncle. So eventually they all decided to go to bed. She says that all the girls decided to get on the bunk beds that were there and all the guys were gonna sleep on the floor. When everybody ended up falling asleep, all of a sudden this really big black bird came in through the window and started making crazy sounds. It woke everybody up and the girls started screaming, which made the guys get up and ask what is going on. At that point, everybody knew what was going on. They were all together and all together decided that they're gonna try to get that bird out of the window. So as they're all trying to get that bird outside, they start hearing weird sounds coming from the living room and the kitchen area. It sounded like somebody was in the kitchen breaking everything and even scratching the walls. Obviously, they were all scared because not only were they dealing with this bird trying to get it out the window, but they're starting to realize that there is somebody in the kitchen. So the guy who owns the cabin starts screaming at whatever it was that he needed to get out of there. They don't know what they're doing inside their cabin, but they needed to leave. So the bird finally went out the window. After he screams at whoever it is in the kitchen, everything just goes silent. They all agreed not to go into the kitchen or living room and just wait until daytime to go and investigate. So when daylight came, they all woke up, started walking towards the kitchen because they thought, okay, well, it's time to clean up the mess that the person had made in the kitchen. However, when they all made it to the living room and kitchen area, they were all pretty surprised to find that there was nothing broken or out of place. Now, the weirdest part was that when they saw the bottles that their friend had left for the uncle, they were all empty and the beer was not like thrown anywhere, like if somebody had just like poured them out. They were just empty and the beer was missing. They were all terrified and just opted to leave that day instead of staying there the entire weekend. Now, time has passed and she mentions how this memory of what happened just started fading away from their memories. Until one day where her boyfriend back then, now husband, asked her if she remembered what happened that day in the cabin. When he mentioned it, she says that out of nowhere, all the memories came back to her of what happened that day in the cabin. She says that she called up her friend that was there that night too, and the same thing happened. She had forgotten about it, and out of nowhere, all the memories just came back to her. It was almost as if she wouldn't have remembered it unless she had reminded her of that night. She still says that she has no idea what happened that day in that cabin and why everybody seems to have forgotten that memory altogether. The only thing she does know is that because of what happened there, it's made them not ever want to go to isolated places again or pour one out for the homie. Anyway, what do you guys think?